This time, it came in brutal fashion. A one-point heartbreak at home against the Orlando Magic, a team they were supposed to handle easily as 6.5-point favorites. And the crazy part, the Lakers had their full stacked roster available, so there were no real excuses floating around. And this game had drama from start to finish. Late in the fourth quarter, with just 44 seconds left, LeBron James stepped to the free throw line and missed a huge shot that could have pushed the Lakers up by 3. Instead, the miss kept the lead at only 2 points, and that tiny gap turned into a big problem fast. Moments later, Desmond Bane pulled up and buried a 3 on the other end, flipping the scoreboard and suddenly giving Orlando a 1-point edge. Still, the Lakers had a chance to swing momentum right back. Luka Doncic delivered a slick, perfectly timed pass to LeBron, cutting toward the rim. And even critics will admit that when the lane is wide open, LeBron can still finish strong. The dunk opportunity was gift-wrapped, and he converted it without trouble, putting the Lakers right back in position to close things out. That assist from Luka was clean, precise, and exactly what the moment needed.
No, we executed. We executed. Like I said, I felt like, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously you have to ask Luka what he saw on that, but I thought he had a good look, and it looked like he kind of just lost his balance, didn't have a rhythm with the ball, whatever the case may be, and it kind of allowed him to get back in front of him. I was kind of off balance when he gave it to me. I thought he had a great look, but that's why I look. That's my POV.
But the basketball gods can be ruthless, and the next possession flipped everything again. Orlando's Wendell Carter Jr. battled inside, grabbed a crucial offensive rebound, and powered in the putback basket to push the Magic ahead 110-109, with just 6.7 seconds left on the clock. Suddenly, the arena went quiet, and the same problem that haunted the Lakers all last season showed up again. Rebounding struggled last year. This exact weakness hurt them badly. The Lakers spent long stretches barely playing a true center, especially during that playoff series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jackson Hayes was basically their only healthy option at times, and even he saw limited minutes in the postseason. The Timberwolves dominated the glass, and it became obvious the Lakers had to fix that weakness moving forward. That's why the team went out and added Bianc during the offseason. And to be fair, Bianc did his job in many ways during this game. Things got messy in the paint. Bianc was slightly out of position. Bodies collided, fighting for the ball, and Wendell Carter Jr. ended up winning the battle and finishing the layup. Still, Lakers fans had a little hope left. Head coach JJ even said he was satisfied with the look they created. And honestly, Luka Doncic did get a clean look at the basket in wide open space, the kind of shot most stars dream about in crunch time. But here's where things got strange. Instead of taking the shot himself, Luka passed it up and swung the ball to LeBron James. Some people might say Luka was just making the smart basketball play, trusting a teammate. Others might wonder if he simply didn't feel comfortable after struggling all night. Either way, the ball ended up in LeBron's hands with a much tougher look at the rim, and that decision raised a lot of eyebrows. LeBron has built a reputation for moving the ball in those moments rather than forcing a contested shot. This time, though, the pass from Luka left him stuck with an extremely difficult attempt as the clock expired. The shot didn't fall, and the Lakers walked away with another painful long. To be fair, Luka had a rough night overall. He finished with 22 points, but needed 24 shots to get there, going just 8 for 24 from the field. From beyond the arc, it was even colder, only 2 for 10 from 3. He clearly looked out of rhythm most of the game, and when that final moment arrived, confidence might have been running low. So instead of firing the shot himself, he handed the moment to someone else. And just like that, the Lakers walk away with a brutal 110-109 loss. When the final buzzer sounded, nobody in purple. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to really get into it with Luka. We obviously, ran a play for him to get a look. I felt like we had, a decent shot. And, I don't know if he thought Isaac was going to overhelp and he could hit LeBron there. After the game, Luka Doncic faced the media and honestly looked lost for words. The final play clearly caught everyone off guard, and the confusion was written all over his face. Yet LeBron James didn't sound much clearer either.
When reporters asked about that last possession, even he seemed unsure about how the ball ended up in his hands for that difficult final attempt. The whole situation felt messy and awkward, like nobody on the floor fully knew how the play was supposed to end. Meanwhile, head coach J.J. Redick kept saying he liked the shot they created. He explained that Luka had a clean look, the kind coaches usually want in that moment. But J.J. also admitted he hadn't spoken with Luka yet about why he decided to pass it up. So the post-game press conference turned into a strange scene where everyone had pieces of the story, but nobody had the full picture. And honestly, confusion is becoming the theme of this entire Lakers season, not just this game. The whole year has felt scattered and unpredictable. One night they look dangerous, the next night they look completely out of sync. Something just hasn't clicked with this team yet. Outside of confusion, injuries have played a huge role too. The Lakers have been hit hard all season, just like several other top Western Conference teams. Denver has dealt with major injury issues, and even squads like Houston and Oklahoma City have had key players missing time. The Western Conference race has been chaotic because so many contenders are fighting through health problems. Because of that, the Lakers' core trio hasn't even shared the floor very often. Last night was only 6 minutes, 20 seconds, the 14th game all season, where Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves actually played together. That number alone shows how disrupted this year has. But here's the surprising part. Even when those three are together, the results haven't been dominant. In those 14 games, the Lakers are just 8-6. It's not terrible, but it's definitely not the record you expect when that much talent shares the court. Then the numbers get even more interesting when you zoom out across the entire league. There are only 5 players in the NBA averaging at least 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists this season. That list includes Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Cade Cunningham, and Austin Reeves. That's a very small and elite group. Here's the wild part. The Lakers actually have 2 of those players on their roster. Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves are both putting up those huge all-around numbers. And remember, neither of those names is LeBron James, but LeBron is still an all-star level player, even at 41, and he's surrounded by 2 of the most productive all-around players in the league. On paper, that combination should be explosive. Yet somehow the team is sitting at just 8-6 when those 3 share the floor together. So the obvious question starts popping up around the league. Why isn't this working better? Because when 3 high-level players share a lineup, the results should look far more dominant. To understand that problem, you have to dig into the lineup data. When you break down the Lakers' most frequently used combinations this season, a pattern starts showing up. Their most used 5-man lineup has played a massive 226 minutes together. That group includes Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton, and Jake LaRavio. With that much time, but the numbers say something very different. That lineup has posted a minus 5.5 net rating across those minutes. In simple terms, when those 5 share the court, the Lakers are actually getting outscored by about 5.5 points per 100 possessions. That's not contender level at all. That's closer to the performance of a mid-tier team fighting just to stay relevant. And it doesn't stop there. The Lakers' second most used lineup features Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Austin Reeves, DeAndre Ayton, and Rui Hachimura. That group has logged 94 minutes together so far, but when you look at the numbers, things get even more shocking because that lineup's net rating drops to an absolutely wild level, minus 23.6. That number alone tells the whole story. If you stretch that lineup over a full game, it means those 5 players would lose by roughly 24 points on average against their opponent. That's not just bad. That's a disaster-level lineup for a team that claims to be chasing a championship. Now here's the detail that really jumps out when you study those first 2 lineups. Both of them include LeBron James. The 2 most used Lakers lineups this season both have him on the floor, and both of them are sitting deep in negative territory. That's a tough pattern to ignore. But when you move to the 3rd most used lineup, something interesting suddenly appears. Out of the hundreds of 5-man combinations the Lakers have tried this season, the 3rd most used group actually does not include LeBron at all. That lineup features Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, Marcus Smart, Rui Hachimura, and DeAndre Ayton. Those 5 players have logged 81 minutes together so far this season, and the numbers from that group tell a completely different story. Instead of getting outplayed, they are actually dominating opponents. That lineup holds a plus 16 net rating. In simple terms, if you stretch that lineup across a full game, they would beat their opponents by 16 points on average. That's the kind of number you expect from an elite contender. So let's pause for a second and look at the full picture. The Lakers' two most used lineups this season are sitting at enormous negatives. In fact, if a lineup somehow maintained a plus 16 net rating across an entire 82-game season, it would basically rank among the greatest contrast. Still, the contrast tells you something very real about how these combinations are performing. When you see one group dominate across 80 minutes while two others struggle across 226 minutes and 94 minutes, the trend becomes hard to ignore. One lineup is clearly functioning better than the other, and that brings us to the uncomfortable conversation surrounding the Lakers right now. A lot of fans don't want to hear it, but when you follow the numbers, one name keeps appearing in the middle of the problem: LeBron James. This isn't about hate or personal attacks. This is about analyzing the data and the direction those numbers point toward. When a team consistently performs better in certain lineups and worse in others, people are naturally going to ask why. Right now, the stats suggest the Lakers might actually flow better when the offense runs through Luka and Reeves without forcing the system to revolve around another dominant ball handler. That's not an insult. It's just the reality of how lineup chemistry sometimes works in the NBA. But here's the tricky part. Even if that trend exists, there really isn't an easy fix. The trade deadline is already passed. The Lakers aren't going to move LeBron at this stage of the season, and head coach J.J. Redick isn't going to bench one of the biggest stars the league has ever seen. So, for now, the Lakers are stuck riding this situation out until the season ends. Then, when you look at the Western Conference standings, the road ahead doesn't exactly look smooth. Right now, the Lakers are locked in a tight race near the middle of the playoff picture. Minnesota also sits with 23 losses, while Denver has 22 and Houston has 21. Teams are shuffling positions almost every night. If the playoffs started today, the likely matchups would place Denver and Minnesota in the 4-5 series, while Houston and the Lakers meet in the 3-6 matchup. But those positions keep shifting depending on the nightly result. Still, the most realistic outcome right now is the Lakers landing around the 6th seat. And if that happens, they're likely staring down a first-round matchup against either Denver or Houston. And honestly, both teams bring intense physicality and depth, exactly the type of opponents that have given the Lakers trouble recently. That's why many analysts believe the Lakers may be heading toward another early playoff exit. If that happens, it would follow a familiar pattern during LeBron's years in Los Angeles. Across his time with the Lakers, the team has either missed the playoffs or lost in the first round in the majority of those seasons. There was one championship run in the bubble, but outside of that, the postseason success has been limited. Now the organization faces a massive question about the future. Do they continue building around the current structure, or do they start preparing for the next era led by younger stars like Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves? That decision could shape the direction of the franchise for years.